Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this first webinar from the RMT. It's great to see some of you tuned in this afternoon, where we'll be talking about the RMT learning offer. I'm Anna from the TUC, and I've been working with colleagues from the RMT to get this webinar programme off the ground. We're joined today by Ivor, Andy and Lisa, and we'll get on to each of those in a second. But first of all, just a quick bit of housekeeping. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll see there's a chat panel where you can introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about where you are. Maybe some of you know each other already. I think that might be the case. Underneath the screen, you'll see there's an ask a question button. Please post any questions there for any of the panel, and we will try and answer them during the course of the webinar and at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ivor to do an introduction to what we'll be covering over the next hour. So Ivor, over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. Nice to see so many people joining us. That's really encouraging. So just going to briefly run through what we're doing today so you get a flavour of what we're about, and then we'll crack straight on with the first session. So the first part we're going to have is an interview with the National Education Officer, Andy Gilchrist, who will be joining us to answer some pre-prepared questions around the project and around learning and education. We'll then go over to a short update on the learning offer, which you should have all received as ULRs some time ago. That is going to be updated again later. That'll be from Lisa Evans, who's one of our learning organisers. Then we're going to have a bit of fun for 10 minutes with a quick quiz, just 10 questions and answers about the learning agenda and RMT learning in general. Then we're going over to a quick piece from me about thinking differently and learning differently, how to use the internet and social media, etc., for promoting learning during these difficult times. Then we'll have a short message from the General Secretary, Mick Cash, and then a quick summary. So that's basically where we are. There is a chance for you to have questions after the quiz, so you can put your questions in the ask a question box. If you just click on that below your screen, and we'll try and answer as many of those as we can. If we can't get through all of them because of the time, then we will try and answer them afterwards. We will sit down and put some answers together for you and get them out to you. Okay, I think that's about it. So have a great time, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Anna.
Cheers, Ivor. We're now going to have the interview with Andy, as we discussed. So I'm going to ask him some questions about education, training, and particularly the situation since we've all been under this new world with coronavirus. So, Andy, how is RMT education coping with the COVID-19 pandemic, and how has this affected delivery of education and lifelong learning?
Well, good afternoon, Anna and colleagues. Well, I think every aspect of daily life was impacted by the rather rapid overtaken, if you like, of normal life by this COVID-19 pandemic. And internally in the union, the managers of various departments were asked to sort of prioritise and begin to develop effectively new ways of working and sustaining, frankly, the union in these difficult times. For my part, there were two large references. One is the Lifelong Learning Round 20 project, and not in any less importance was the trade union, if you like, reps training or education. I prioritised the lifelong learning because in the immediacy, what we had to do as an externally funded project was give it a way of operating as best as possible and relatively quickly. And that's what we did, and I should stress that that's what the relatively small team were very, very hard at work at almost immediately. And what we've had to do is, in one small step, is move the entire offer, which Ivor and Lisa will talk about later, into an online provision. We've had to find new ways of working as a team, which were relatively straightforward, but it's always difficult working differently, whatever the task is. Developing very quickly a way of communicating the new offer, and also packing out that offer with things which we think will be either supportive, relevant, interesting, and even, dare I say, amusing, but because people are in all sorts of different situations in this. Now, I'm bound to say, as the project manager, I'm very, very pleased with what the team has done, and we've put quite a bit of material out there, and an enormous amount of resources for people to lock into if they want to pick up. That work is still ongoing, and we intend to proceed in that way, and we're working closely with our colleagues at Union Learn to make sure that what we're doing is in line with our project plan and so on. So it's very much ongoing work, but as I say, I hope that it's appreciated that we've quickly moved that around. Work has begun on the second priority, if I put it that way, of the workplace reps education, and in fact on Thursday I should be in a position to report to the General Secretary that we've got a platform and the technical ability to provide online training, tutor supported, but as I say, I'll finalise it on Thursday. So that's where that is, Anna.
That's great to hear, Andy. But that's all focused really on what the situation is during the pandemic. Do you think that there will be an effect on the way RMT deliver education and learning in the future post-lockdown?
I think a lot of people feel that's inevitable, and let me stress right from the outset, any decisions around that, if you like, the legacy of these difficult times, which have led us to take positive steps in a different direction, will be taken by a broader group within the union, the union membership, and through its democratic processes. But if you think in terms of our workplace reps programme, which is entirely, or was entirely, classroom based, and a large amount of the work we did inside the learning project was face to face, and sometimes in a classroom situation. Now with this move to an online capacity, I think it will generate a debate because, to be frank, some people will be less than happy with it. Others will think it's far better than what we used to do, and there'll be everything in between. That will naturally lead people that are interested and involved in the union, our activists, to begin discussions about, should we return at some point in the future to things as they were? Should we actually carry on where we're going and leave that place, arrive somewhere else, or will it be somewhere in the middle? But I don't think anybody that's involved with the union won't be thinking about, well, actually, I quite like that, or I can see problems with this being done online, and so on and so forth. That's starting to come through. I mean, one piece of information, I've canvassed the people that were due to take reps training in April and May, and the responses from this relatively small group is, strangely perhaps some might say, overwhelmingly not really keen on moving into an online learning situation. They're prepared to wait until the programme goes back, as they would put it, to what it was, like class-based, residential, so on and so forth. But that's a very small part of a very wide and very involved membership. So I think there's a likelihood that there'll be some serious discussions about, what our programme, both learning and education, ought to look like in the future, Anna.
Absolutely, as you say, there's so much unknown at the moment. We have to wait and see in a lot of situations. So thinking specifically about union learning reps, is there any advice or guidance you can offer them about how they might need to think and work differently during this situation and after COVID-19?
Well, I think one of the things is in times, I mean, this is unprecedented at this particular time, but in previous times of difficulty, people do look around for, I'll call them leaders, wherever they might be in the workplace community, and union learning reps, active union learning reps fall into that category. So that they'll be approached perhaps increasingly by members looking for things that can help them, things that they might want to do, generally perhaps for just some general support. Now, again, what the union learning reps have also got to get to grips with, not only is the offer entirely online going forward for this period of time, but their ability to communicate outside of the workplace with interested members is going to be in forums such as this. And it might be something that the team look to, that past even Zoom and Skype, that in fact union learning reps, led by the team, could be providing these types of webinars, gather people together in specific areas, apart from the ones that the team will put on, as it were, for the national union. So again, I think it's that got to start thinking differently, because the tools we've got are slightly changing, and some things are just not practical or indeed safe. And of course, now the dynamic is that, and we don't know exactly, but large numbers of people are being encouraged, I'll use that word carefully, return to work, which again might give access for our union learning reps, accepting social distance in the workplace and so on, to help members.
Sure. Thanks for that. So the next question is about the Bob Crow National Education Centre. Are the RMT investigating ways to deliver the industrial education programme while this centre is closed?
Yes, yeah, that's I'm rather more involved in that now that the team has got the learning project changes and differences underway. Obviously, we've closed the centre. The courses are closed or postponed up until June the 30th currently. I'm working with colleagues who are technically more adept than myself about putting together a tutor-led online provision, because even if it was desired, the idea of putting together in a short space of time an entirely online provision, for instance, like the TC, would just take an enormous amount of time apart from resources. So we're looking to be somewhere halfway in the middle. Now, I've got a judge capacity, but I've also, of course, got to find a different way of administering and managing that. And also, of course, it's already thrown up, just informally discussing this with a few activists, that there are IT issues, of course, because if you ask people to learn remotely on a phone, on a laptop, on a desktop computer, it's not always the case that people are comfortable with that, just skill set based. So that's something else. But I think I mentioned earlier, Anna, I've got a meeting with a couple of people on Thursday, obviously, as it were, online, where I'm hoping to be able to report back that we can put this together in a relatively short space of time. The only thing I would say, and I understand, if you've been in where we were, which was an entirely class-based program, it's well, quite bluntly, it's not really ever going to be that easy to switch that over on a Friday to be in place on Monday. So it has taken a few weeks, and I've explained that the project, because of its funding nature, was put first. But we're well on the way to doing that, Anna. So yeah, we will tutor-led online thing. I mean, obviously I'll pilot the first few and see how they're received.
Absolutely. Well, that all sounds like a positive way forward. So the next question is a bit more of a personal one, and it's: are you doing any online learning yourself during lockdown?
Well, actually, by the nature of my job, I've had to, because I've been looking at just the TUC, but a number of online training programs. I mean, that's very much just doing my job, but it's actually been interesting for me. One that's slightly more amusing. I remember many years ago, I've been very proud to get an A level in maths, and so I thought I'll have a look and see what the maths looks at GC, what I would call an O level, GCSE level. I didn't last very long on that, because I realised that I was much smarter back then than I am now when it comes to maths. So looking around now for something to do which doesn't actually show up the shortcomings I've got, Anna.
Well, there's lots of online training and learning programs out there. I think to suit almost any taste, there's probably something available. Okay, so if there's one positive from the current situation that you could take away, what would it be?
Well, positives. I mean, look, for many people, this is an absolutely dire time, and it's a very difficult time. I mean, it's not the wrong word to use. A fearful time even, and trade unions are there for their members, and I think already the trade union movement, not to me unsurprisingly, is showing what it's best at, which is represent the views of people, yes, but supporting people, and also in a very human way, and that's been for me very impressive, and I've seen plenty of that across my own union, the RMT. So that's a massive positive. But the other thing, which is always challenging, but personally, I find it sometimes actually refreshing and something we need, is the fact that so much has had to change. And I'm sure people thought, well, it's all got to change, but don't worry, when this is over, it'll all go back to where it was. I think making us think about the benefits of certain ways of doing things, the minuses of doing them, again, what we used to do, and being honest about how effective that was compared to what we're doing now is something which we ought to welcome. And when we do get through the more difficult, and as I've said, even fearful times that some people are having to deal with out there, I think that's only going to be doing the movement and individual unions and members, a lot of benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been lots of positives, haven't there, in what is quite a difficult situation for many. And final question, is there anything you would like to say to the members watching, or is there a specific message you would like them to take away from this webinar?
Well, I was only thinking about this because I always say, and it always raises a smile when I do teach in the union, which is essentially a transport union, right across the spectrum, that I know nothing about transport, and that they smile at that. I mean, luckily I probably know a few other things. I think the first thing that members in the RMT should do, because although many are furloughed, there are many workers in the RMT still out there, still doing their job on buses and taxis and trains and offshore and maritime, and so it goes on. And firstly, what they ought to do is take a bow, frankly, because I mean, I have some understanding from my background many years ago in the fire service, but to be unrelentingly going to work every day to drive that bus, or to be on that platform, or be on that train, and so on and so forth, I think shows up absolutely a huge amount of courage, and people in the RMT that are doing that ought to take a bow. But the other thing is that is as always to be positive. The union and the individual members within the union will come out of this stronger and more resolved, hopefully to make this world a better place, and to learn from all the experiences and the bad ones that people are going through now. So I think there is a lot to be taken from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that positive message, Andy, especially the one about sort of staying strong and how individuals and the union will emerge from this whenever we emerge stronger. Okay, well, Andy will stay with us to possibly answer some of your questions that you might have later, but I'm just gonna we're going to hand over now to Lisa, who is going to take us through the learning offer. Right, just 1 second. I am just going to get the screen ready for her. Okay, Lisa, over to you. And you're going to take us through this presentation about what the RMT has got for its members.
Great, thank you, Anna, and good afternoon, everyone. Ivor did say I'd briefly go through this, so those of you that do know me, I will try my very best to stick to this. Again, like Anna said, and Ivor's put there in the chat, if you want to ask a question, please do in the ask a question box as I'm going through the presentation today. As you can imagine, the whole of us, the whole team, have had to have a look at ways that we can engage, support and promote learning within workplaces. And this webinar, very, very new to me and very different, is just one of the innovative ways that we're looking at to try and embrace the current situation and to let it give us opportunities. So I'm going to go through the current offer, what we've got, which is purely, as you can imagine, online. So at the moment, we're offering lots of online learning opportunities across a wide spectrum of platforms, if you like. So some people don't have access to a desktop or a tablet. So some of our learning has to be mobile friendly too. So we've had a look at that, and we've had a look at different providers and looking at different ways of learning too. So webinars is one of them, as we're doing today, quizzes, e-notes, videos, things that are a bit more fun as well in some circumstances, rather than a very structured level 2 or 3 course, for example. But what we're trying to do is make them as user-friendly as possible. So if people have limited IT skills, they can still access learning. But also one of our ethoses, as you know, is always at the free or a very, very low cost. The aim is for all learning to be traceable and trackable. And this is really, really important for us at the moment. So if it's something I can get to stress during this presentation, I will later on too, is that we need to claim outcomes. We still have our targets, and it's really important for us and for the success of the project. Have the next slide, please. So what's on offer? So as always, we have a huge, literally hundreds of opportunities for our members and for colleagues in the workplace. Some of the subjects we cover are on the slide there, but functional skills, which are English, maths and IT, from little bite-sized chunks to initial assessments. It was quite funny that Andy mentioned there he'd had a look at maths. I'm recently done a maths assessment, and I found it absolutely incredible to do it again. It was quite daunting, actually. So we understand that for some of our learners, this might be their first footstep into learning. So they might just want to do an initial assessment. They might want to do a very short course that doesn't come with a qualification. And we've made sure that we have those opportunities for people in there, even up to GCSE level with some of our providers. We've got a very wide range at the moment of mental health and wellbeing courses. And later this week, you will receive an email from us that's very specific to mental health, because next week is Mental Health Awareness Week. So we have a specific mental health awareness offer, and there's lots of resources on there. It's not just focused at learning. There's lots of support things on there as well, and tools that can help during the current COVID situation, whether you're going out to work or whether you've had to adapt and work from home, to when you do get back into the workplace. For some of our members, I know lots of you already are, things like mental health first aid at work. So there's lots of things on mental health awareness at the moment. We then have our usual level 2 qualifications in a wide range of work skills. So lots of those are being taken up at the moment, which is proven very popular. So things like business admin, customer services, team leading. We have pre-degree learning courses, OU courses with the Open University up to degree level. There's lots we've got available at the moment for union learner reps to enable them to support learners. And it's not just to support learners currently doing a course or thinking of doing a course. It's to support learners with everyday issues, befriending. It's very apt that next week's Mental Health Awareness Week, kindness is the theme. I think we're seeing a culture at the moment of people very willing to help other people. So some of that's focused around that. You've always got the support of your lead learning organiser, and we're all part of this webinar today. We're all working incredibly hard to try and keep in contact and keep being a constant support to our ULRs in the workplace. And we have lots of tools and materials to promote a learning culture for you. Next slide, please. I'm sure you're already aware of the huge benefits learning can be, but the current online offer specifically promotes. We have some people that are shielding, we have some people that have been stood down from duty. We're immensely thankful to all those people that are going out still and working in the workplace. But I think people are focusing a lot more on what they do with their time and how they can be more purposeful in what they do. So we're focusing very much on that, and that being a huge benefit at the moment. Development or refreshing of current skills, so possibly getting a qualification for something that you're already doing, or developing learning new skills. So thinking outside of the box and thinking, actually, I'd really like to learn something new. Let's develop that skill and learn a new skill. But very importantly, the last point there is supporting good mental health. So making sure we're all looking after our own mental health and well-being and those around us during the current situation. And learning's a really good way of doing that. Next slide, please. So where can you find the offer? You should have already received this offer. Learning organisers have sent them out. It's been sent out via email. But there's a web-based publication, very user-friendly, very bright and glossy, that's on screen there. But also we've put on there, it's on request from RMT learning organisers or Donna and Francine at Unity House. So the whole team have access to this. Please contact us. We're there to support you. Our jobs wouldn't be achievable if we didn't have our ULRs. So our main focus is to make sure that you have that support available to you. Next slide, please. And I think finally, I've touched on this earlier, but we can't stress enough, the team and some of our ULRs are doing some absolutely fantastic work, huge amounts of it. But we need to track what we're doing. It's really important. It's not as easy. Your lead learning organisers can't get out and about at the moment. It's difficult to get people to fill in a form for us whilst we're speaking to them. So we do have a data consent form. We have an e-data consent form. You can save a link to your smartphone. There's lots of different ways we can do it. But what we've got to think about is every time we reach out to somebody in the workplace, whether it's speaking to them about what we do and what our role is, so briefing them, whether we're referring them to learning, whether we're advising them to learning, whether we're signing them up to a course, we can claim outcomes for this. And it's something that we're really, really stressing that we do at the moment. So we're more than happy to help any of the team in doing this. And if you've got any questions on how you can do that, please just get in touch and let us know. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lisa. We're just going to now, I think, proceed with our quiz. So Lisa will stay with us, but I'm going to hand over now to Ivor, who's going to take you through what looks like a fabulous quiz. Just one moment. There he is. So over to you, Ivor, to let's see who knows their union learning stuff.
Okay, thanks for that, Anna, and thanks, Lisa, for that piece of work. That was really useful. So there's been a lot of talk up until now, and we know that obviously you all want that. You've also got your issues that you want addressed. Just to lighten the mood a little bit, we've got a quick quiz of 10 questions. It doesn't matter if you don't get them right. It's only for your own benefit. If you want to score it, if you don't want to score it, it's entirely up to you. If you do, stick the scores up on the screen afterwards, see how we all got on. So we'll just go for the first question then. Okay, question 1. In which northern town is the Bob Crow National Education Centre? In which northern town is the Bob Crow National Education Centre? Shouldn't take too long to get that one, I hope. And question number 2. There we go. Who is the RMT National Education Officer? Who is the RMT National Education Officer? He is watching, by the way. So, question number 3. What Act of Parliament covers union learning reps? What Act of Parliament covers union learning reps? Let's see if you're paying attention in those ULR training courses. Okay, and question number 4. What are the 3 core functional skills subjects? What are the 3 core functional skills subjects? It's all fairly straightforward, I hope. Nothing too taxing. And question number 5. What annual event is the ULR's formal forum to put resolutions to the RMT AGM? What annual event is the ULR's formal forum to put resolutions to the RMT AGM? This is included in the rule book. It's a formal event. And next one, please. Question 6. There we go. Oh, multiple choice. Which RMT learning offer uses the spaced repetition method? Which RMT learning offer uses the spaced repetition method? Is it Learning Curve, TUC eNotes, Ranks, or Learn My Way? You've got a choice of 4 there. You decide which one uses the spaced repetition method. And question number 7. RMT learning reps cannot hold any other position in the union. Is that true or false? RMT learning reps cannot hold any other position in the union. Is that true or false? Question number 8. Coming up. Here we go. Union Learn is part of which larger organisation? Union Learn, who support the RMT learning team, is part of which larger organisation? Question number 9. Oh, the penultimate question. Question number 9. Here it comes. What is the name of the annual set of books designed by the reading agency to encourage reading? What is the name of the annual set of books designed by the reading agency to encourage reading? Shouldn't take long. And finally, question number 10. Do ULRs have any role to play in recruitment of members? Do ULRs have any role to play in recruitment of members? Yes or no? Straightforward. Got 50% chance of getting it right. Okay, just give you a couple of seconds if you are writing those down to have a think about the ones you've skipped, and then we'll move on to the answers. You can feel the tension. It's incredible. Sends a shiver up my spine, it does. Okay, should we move on to the next screen then, Anna, please? That's it, okay. So the answer to question number 1, in which northern town is the Bob Crow National Education Centre, is of course Doncaster. I'll be amazed if nobody got that. Question number 2, who is the National Education Officer? Oh my word, there's a technical error. It's clearly not the Employment Act of 2002. It is, of course, Andy Gilchrist. So I'm probably going to end up with a couple of days suspension for that. Sorry, Andy. Question number 3. I'm not sure how that happened. Oh, this is ridiculous. Okay, it seems to have been a problem with the file. So what Act of Parliament covers union learning reps? Well, fortunately, I know the answer, so ignore what's on there. It is the Employment Act of 2002. The Employment Act of 2002. I'll take the Employment Act. It doesn't matter about the year. Question number 4. Fingers crossed. Yay! What are the 3 core functional skills subjects? They are English, Maths, and ICT. English, Maths, and ICT. Or IT, it's fine. Question number 5. What annual event is the ULR's formal forum to put resolutions to the AGM? Is the National Education Advisory Conference. The National Education Advisory Conference, often known as the NEAC. We do love our acronyms. Okay, thanks, Anna. Moving on. We'll click for the next one. Oh, here we go. So which RMT learning offer uses the spaced repetition method? Courses ranks. It's actually quite an interesting tool, actually. I've had to go at a few bits myself, and I must admit I'm starting to get into it. So question number 7. RMT learning reps cannot hold any other position in a union. That's false. Many but not all ULRs hold at least one other position in the union. So there's no reason why you can't be a branch secretary and a ULR. And indeed, quite a few of them are, actually. Question number 8. Union Learn is part of which larger organisation? Is the Trade Union Congress, or the TUC. Question number 9. What is the name of the annual set of books designed by the Reading Agency to encourage reading? Is, of course, the Quick Reads. Really good stuff they are. I love reading those. Last one I read was Finding Captain Poldark, I think it was called. Really good. Recommend that. Question number 10. Do ULRs have any role to play in recruitment of members? No brainer. Yes, they do. All members have a role to play in recruiting more members. That's just what we do. Never miss an opportunity to recruit a new member. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, everyone. I hope you had a bit of fun there. It's just a bit of a break from the usual business, kind of. Still a learning opportunity, never to be missed.
Yeah, there are learning opportunities everywhere. So while I'm bringing back our other speakers, so Andy and Lisa, if you want to share your scores in the chat, like Ivor suggested, please do so. I got 6 out of 10. Wow. Which I'm quite pleased about. I must admit, I didn't know some of the RMT specific questions, but I think I can be forgiven for those. But I knew the others, so oh, Ivor got 10 out of 10. That's cheering to hear, Ivor, considering that you wrote the quiz. Lisa got 8. Perhaps that's is that always a good thing. So excellent. We now have Lisa and Andy back with us again, which is brilliant. So we've had some questions posted by viewers. Okay, so the first question, if I ask the question and then you guys, either can take it in turns on answering it, or one person can decide that it's best suited to them. So first question is from Sue. Sue asks, where can we access Word and Excel courses?
Oh, stunned silence. I suppose that means I've got to jump in there. Do Learning Curve do it, Lisa?
So sorry, is my mic on yet? What you can do is Learning Curve do a level 2 IT course at the moment that's free. It is dependent on the area you live, your postcode, so some devolved areas may not get it. And Word and Excel are part of those. But I specifically haven't looked for Word and Excel courses standalone, but I'm happy to do that for you.
There are some available on Allison.com as well. So they're quite good. At the moment, I think the basic one is still free on Allison.
Yeah, thanks for those. I'm just wondering, is it worth after the webinar if you send all these links round to the people who've registered? So yeah, because it'll be easier if you've got a link to click on. So absolutely, we'll make sure those are sent round. So next question is from Nathaniel. Nathaniel asks, where can I find information on the Open University courses? Okay.
So in the learning offer that was sent out some time ago, which is the publication that Lisa referred to, there are links there for the Open University. Basically, you can go on there. The link is actually to the short courses, which are available similar to eNotes and things like that. But you can from there go into the wider selection of courses. and look at those. But don't forget that for your first part of your course, which is the pre-degree part, you can actually get a 10% discount as a trade union member from the cost of that. So obviously degrees aren't free. You would have to talk about a government loan or something like that.
Thanks, Ivor. Another question has been posted saying, I'm in the position where I'm unable to access any of the paper documents and I'm not sure when I will be able to.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can access, send and return the consent forms in a secure way? I think this question, doesn't just apply to consent forms, but anything that we usually do by paper. You know, I'm finding myself without a printer at home. Good for the trees, but sometimes you need that bit of paper.
Yeah. Did Roxanne ask this, I think?
Yes.
Yes.
That's from Roxanne, yeah.
Yeah, so Roxanne, you're part of my team, so I'm happy to share those with you after this. But for anybody else listening in, like I mentioned earlier, we have an e-learning consent form, which is fully secure, and all the data gets downloaded from that, and then we can pick that up later. We also have a QR code so that you can scan with your mobile phone, and we can send it as a Word document as well that can be sent electronically. So there's several ways we can do it. We've tried to think of every eventuality, because we're so keen to record that data and the outcomes that we get. And we make sure all of your e-learning organisers have had to do a GDPR course, so we will make sure that everything is secure and follows all legislation.
Thanks, Lisa. I think Andy's trying to reconnect. Andy, don't worry if you can't. Just keep trying. But if not, don't worry. I'm sure Ivor and Lisa can cover any questions if you don't manage to. We all have internet problems, and you know sometimes it just doesn't work at the moment you need it to. So another question here from Sue saying, how can reps access membership lists? There's no GDPR courses on at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, that's a fairly good question. Well, it's a very good question, actually. The only way realistically we can do it is through branch secretaries, asking them to draw down a list of membership. We can't do it from head office anymore than anybody else can. Or you can go to your regional secretary and ask them to do it. They can do a drop down and just make sure you only get the data that you need. So if it's a name and an email address, etc. Because we do have to be very careful about GDPR, as you know, Sue, and as everybody else I'm sure knows. So yeah, you need to use the machinery until we do actually get people back on these e-membership courses.
Thanks, Ivor. It looked like we got Andy briefly there, but then the connection went again. But actually, we've answered all the questions that have been posted so far. So.
Can I? Sorry,
yeah.
Anna, I've actually got an email. A text of a question sent from Dave in Devon, and he couldn't make it on here, but he's going to watch it later. He just wanted to know where ULRs can get financial support to pay for resources such as online tools and things like that. So just for the record, that the answer to that is your branch. Basically, the branches have funds. If you can put together a proper case for actually purchasing, say, a paid-for Zoom or something like that, then there's no reason why the branch can't approve that. It is approved spending, and again, or your regional council if it's more appropriate for your region to pay for it. There is a certain amount of money there, and it's available, and that's why ULRs. It's so important that we engage with our branches and why we engage with our regional councils, because there is an awful lot of support and experience there.
Thanks, Ivor. We've answered all the questions that have been posted, but that doesn't mean you can't post anymore, because we'll have a bit of time at the end for those if we need to. So I think the next section of our webinar today, Ivor is going to talk about how to think differently during this period. So I'll hand over to you, Ivor, while so that you can tell us about that.
Cool. Thanks, Anna. I'm very aware that you've all been listening to me quite a lot, and I'm sorry about that, but it's because I've got a big mouth. So I just wanted to make sure we're kind of thinking about a little bit more creatively about what we can do, because it can be quite disheartening in lockdown, where you don't see people or they're always too busy to do stuff. And there's lots of things that we can actually do. So the learning offer itself is a tool. We will be putting that out again, just to make sure everybody's still got it. And there will be a new copy with some changes and updates on it in the next couple of weeks. But use it as a reference guide. So download a copy onto your phone or your tablet or whatever, and just refer to it. If people ask questions, have a look in the have a look in there and see what's there. And if it's not there, then of course you can always contact your regional learning organizer, and we'll try and help you out as well. Use your smartphone as much as you can. I've actually got two because I'm a show off. But smartphones are great tools. Again, you or your tablet. You can set up links on the actual front cover. So you can set up a link to the data consent form. You can set up a link to the learning offer. You can set up a direct link to all sorts of things. And again, all these links will be coming out again very, very soon after this. Excuse me. So just use it. That's what it's there for. That's what we designed it for, to support the ULRs and give them something to go out and offer. So make sure anyone who takes up a course fills in the data consent form, please. It's very important to us. I know it's not life or death to you, but it does make a big difference to us if we can collect that data. It keeps us going. It means that we can support you. So please do try and use those data consent forms. Think about using virtual classrooms. Okay, so use Zoom. The basic package is free. You can have up to 100 people on there, and it's not even limited to 40 minutes anymore. They've actually taken that off. So you can actually set up some kind of learning event online. But if you only get 4 or 5 people, that's great. That's a win. That's 4 or 5 people that you've got into learning and doing something differently. But think about setting up network meetings with other ULRs. So people from your region, maybe, or people, ULRs within your company, even involve ASLEF if you want to, and things, because some places the ULRs get on really well with the other unions. So use the opportunity to share ideas and stuff like that. But just make sure that we communicate and share information, because that's how you get people into learning. I'm trying not to teach Granny to suck eggs here, but sometimes it helps to just underline that. As I said earlier, use branch and regional funds to set up learning opportunities. How about inviting speakers? It's really easy to invite speakers when it's an online event, because they haven't got to come, they've got to travel. They can just sit there for an hour or whatever it is and talk to you on screen. We had a really good one I was talking about earlier before we went online. A lady called Louise Raw. She wrote the book, Strike a Light, I think it's called, and which was about the match women's strike in 1888. Absolutely fascinating talk. She spoke for about 18 minutes, 20 minutes, and it was really interesting. And what she actually did was a lot of really interesting comparisons with with today and the COVID-19 crisis, and about the attitude to health and safety, and about the bosses just being interested in the bottom line. It was a really, really, really successful thing. We ended up with about 650 views off of that, just on that alone. So there's an opportunity there to actually get stuff out there. But there's lots of authors who want to talk about their books and publicise their books, and they don't always charge. As I said earlier, don't expect massive numbers. 5 or 6 people online is a good win, you know, and if you can do that 2 or 3 times a month, that's nearly 20 people, isn't it? So, but just also grab those outcomes, however small you think they are, just grab them and make sure you keep hold of them. So try accessing the staff via managers. As Sue was saying earlier about getting members, I mean, it's not actually also just about members, although we want to support them, obviously. But try using the managers to access it. A lot of them use newsletters, so give them some stuff to put in the newsletter. I do that a couple of times on Southeastern. Nothing to stop other people doing that. It's a really good way of getting messages out. Design posters. Use the branch support or a learning team to help you design those. Maybe we'll even do an online designing session for for union learning reps for posters and stuff. So just in summary, use the internet. It's a great untapped resource. Use Zoom, etc. Communicate, talk, record. Don't wait for someone else to do it. If you've got an idea, crack on. That's really important that we just get out there and start doing stuff and get excited. Finally, just because of COVID, make sure you ask for and use your ULR release. Even if they say no, keep asking, because it's important that we don't allow them to let that drop off the agenda. Okay, so I'm sorry you've had to listen to me for quite a lot today, but I think there's just some basic ideas on how to think differently and how we've got to work in the future. Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, thanks, Ivor. I think never boring to listen to. Always good stuff, and I think some really good tips there about, like, don't wait for other people to. If you've got a good idea, crack on. There's always that opportunity. But next, our viewers are going to listen to you again for a bit of an for a bit of an unusual section, because we've got a message from Mick Cash, but we couldn't get him to record it, unfortunately. But however, he has written a message that Ivor's going to read, and we've got a little, obviously, picture to remind you all what Mick looks like. So here we go.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, just to clarify, I think there was actually a technical error by me. We tried to do a piece to camera on Zoom for me to record and then play to you, but we did it a couple of times and it just wasn't recording the sound. So we had some real issues. So I'm sorry about that. You're going to have to listen to me. It's a very brief message from the General Secretary, and I'll just read it verbatim. So, dear sisters and brothers, firstly, let me say how sorry I am the technology let us down, and I could not record a message to you directly. However, I am sure Ivor will put across what I want to say with the same sincerity in which it was delivered. Well, I'll try. Unsurprisingly, I am proud to be the General Secretary of our union. The RMT is a union that is fighting for its members, working for a better workplace, and educating us all for a better future. Most importantly, though, I would like to thank each and every one of you and members who could not be here for the work and commitment you have not just shown during this terrible COVID-19 pandemic, but before, when we were facing other challenges industrially and within learning. The rank and file membership just get on with things and make it work for them and their members. This event, as I understand it, is about raising awareness and understanding of the RMT learning offer and how we can use it to promote learning under lockdown conditions. I hope it's been a success and that those of you taking part can go away better set to promote learning and education in your workplaces and elsewhere, such as your branch and regional council. Bit of a theme in the messages there, isn't there? It is vital that we ensure our members have the skills and confidence to make real choices in their lives. This can only happen if they have the knowledge and understanding of those choices, which will only be achieved if we as a trade union support them, whilst fighting for our members, working for a better workplace and educating us all for a better future. Members are either on furlough, isolating or still at work in some way or another. The key issue for all of those people is not just staying virus free or getting better, but staying well mentally. Mental well-being is a much better understood challenge now, and it is also a widely accepted reality that learning helps to keep balanced perspective on issues that might otherwise become a problem. RMT learning reps have a key role to play in promoting learning and making it happen, giving people a focus on something that will challenge them and develop their understanding in an interest of theirs, whether it's maths, English, IT, learning a new language, or family history and digital photography. Just the act of learning helps us to keep focus. So to finish, thank you to the National Education Officer, Andy Gilchrist, to our RMT learning team, and most importantly to you, our members, for all the work you do to make the RMT the best union in the UK, some would argue the world. which is fighting for its members, working for a better workplace and educating us all for the future. Thank you. And that's it. That's what he had to say. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you, Ivor. So that nearly brings us to the end of the webinar. Unless anyone's got any more questions they'd like to ask either Ivor, Andy or Lisa, I can bring them back if we have a question for them. I'll give you a few seconds to post. If there aren't, it just remains for Ivor and I to say bye. Tell you that the resources and a link to a recording will be sent round later today or tomorrow, to tell you to stay safe and hopefully to tune into some more webinars in the very near future. Anything else from you, Ivor?
No, just once again, thanks all for tuning in. It's been a learning curve for all of us. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, more importantly, something to take away. And you've all got our contact details. Please let us know what you think of this as well. Be gentle. And you all take care and stay safe and stay well out there. Thanks, Anna.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And we'll see you again soon.